There are moments when nothing works. The relationship ends, the opportunity evaporates. You replay the moment, searching for the flaw in your energy, your words, your timing. Something must have gone wrong, you tell yourself. Something must be wrong with you. Why else would life deny what you wanted? But what if that closed door was not denial? What if it was direction? We're taught to chase alignment by seeking open paths, chasing the next thing that feels right. But we're rarely told what to do when nothing feels right, when everything we try disintegrates. When the more we push, the more it slips away. That moment, where it all feels like rejection, is often where the quantum field is most active. Because when life starts closing in on you, it's not punishment, it's precision. Think about the nature of GPS. When you make a wrong turn, it doesn't yell at you, it reroutes you. Not because you failed, but because you're being repositioned for accuracy. That's how the field works too. But instead of satellites and roads, it uses resonance. It feels your frequency, listens to your subconscious signals, and responds not to what you say you want, but to what you're aligned to hold. So sometimes, what you thought was meant for you falls apart, because the field heard something deeper in you calling for more. And the life you're being rerouted toward can't fit inside the frequency of who you were. But in the moment, it doesn't feel like guidance. It feels like collapse. Because our minds equate loss with failure. When the call doesn't come, when the partnership fades, when the effort returns void, we assume the worst. We question the universe. We question our path. But here's what's actually happening. The field is listening to your alignment, not your agenda. And when your inner world starts shifting, even subtly, the outer world begins reorganizing. You may not have consciously decided to walk away from the job, or the person, or the pattern, but your frequency already started stepping into something more coherent, and the life you were living could no longer match that vibration. So it begins to fall away, not as an attack, but as a release. This is the moment where many people give up, not because they're weak, but because no one told them. This is part of it. This is the threshold between timelines. The identity you've outgrown will feel like rejection when you've never practiced receiving redirection. But the field is never cruel. It's consistent. It will always match your state, even when your ego doesn't understand it. And the deeper you go into this process of becoming, the more it feels like life is stripping things away, not to punish you, but to purify your field. This is the sacred unraveling. And if you can stay present in it, if you can hold the frequency of trust when everything seems to scream otherwise, something radical happens. The closed doors stop meaning rejection. They start revealing resonance. Every no begins to show you where your energy is outdated. Every delay begins to reveal how perfectly time is bending in your favor. The pain doesn't disappear, but the story changes. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" You begin to ask, "What is this making space for?" And the moment you ask that question, the quantum field responds. Not with words, but with mirrors. Unexpected conversations, subtle opportunities, energy shifting around you like gravity realigning itself. Because it is. You are not being blocked. You are being repositioned. So if life feels like it's pushing you away right now, pause. Listen. Breathe. What if it's not pushing you away at all? What if it's pointing you home? What if the rejection wasn't rejection at all? Just quantum feedback? To understand how life redirects you without punishing you, we must look beneath the surface of events and into the fabric of reality itself. You are not just a body in space. You are a vibrational field immersed in a quantum sea of potentialities. And the universe, at its most fundamental level, is not made of things. It's made of relationships, of resonance, of probabilities collapsing into form through the alignment of energy and attention. At the subatomic level, particles do not move in predictable lines. They move as waves, spreads of possibility. And only when observed do they become one thing, one path, one outcome. This is not theory. It is the nature of the world. which means your reality isn't set in stone. It's a living field, malleable, intelligent, responsive to your state. Now let's bring this into your daily life. When you desire something, whether it's a relationship, a new path, a creative dream, you begin to generate a vibrational signal. That signal carries not just what you consciously want, but everything you unconsciously expect, fear, and believe. The field receives that entire package, not your words, your frequency. And here's the twist. If what you desire exists in a different frequency than what you currently embody, the field doesn't block you. It begins reorganizing you. It reroutes, redirects, removes what cannot come with you. Not because you're failing to manifest, but because you're being pulled into coherence with your own highest request. This is the quantum mechanic of redirection. The field is not binary. It doesn't say yes or no like a vending machine. It responds through resonance. And resonance speaks through motion. So when things start breaking down, it may not be the collapse of your vision, but the collapse of the timeline that can't contain your vision anymore. Think of two tuning forks. When one vibrates, the other begins to resonate. But if they're not tuned the same, there's interference, distortion. The field does the same with you. It senses the vibration of your becoming and begins to reorganize everything that doesn't match. That might look like sudden endings, delayed projects, conversations falling through, people ghosting, opportunities fading. But behind the scenes, the frequencies are adjusting. And if you can hold the truth through it, that nothing real is lost, only what's incompatible is released, you begin to access a level of peace that no outcome can shake. This is the foundation of quantum trust, because at the level of the unified field, there is no punishment. There is only pattern. Your energy is the pattern. Your intention is the seed. And your emotional coherence is the water. You cannot plant the desire for deep love and water it with fear of abandonment. The field doesn't punish you for that conflict. It simply reflects it back. So the question is not, why isn't this happening? The real question is, what am I resonating with? And if the answer reveals dissonance, don't panic. That's not a failure. That's your map. Rejection, delay, confusion, they're not verdicts. They're vibrations. Signals from the field that something within you is out of alignment with the version of you you're becoming. And as soon as you honor that signal, something begins to shift. Slowly, quietly, until one day you realize the very path you were chasing was never meant to be walked. It was meant to redirect you to something better aligned, better timed, and more true. The universe isn't denying you. It's recalibrating you. And when you understand that, resistance softens. You no longer fight the delay. You lean into it. You no longer cling to what's crumbling. You let it fall, knowing what remains will be real. This is not the end. It's resonance, reordering reality. You asked to become more. You set an intention. You declared expansion. And now, it feels like your world is falling apart. That's not a contradiction. That's the cost of alignment. Before the new can emerge, the old must dissolve. Not just in theory, but in form. And often what dissolves isn't the obviously toxic. It's the familiar, the reliable, the almost good enough. It's the relationship that kept you from loneliness. The job that paid the bills but suffocated your spirit. The version of yourself that kept others comfortable but made you quietly ache. When you begin to align with a deeper truth, these structures collapse. Not to hurt you, but to set you free. And yet, freedom can feel like grief. No one talks about this part of manifestation. We celebrate the vision board. We affirm the dream. But we rarely acknowledge that becoming the future version of yourself means letting go of the self that built your current life. And that self, flawed, tired, defensive, protective, still wants to be loved. Still wants to be needed. Still wants to survive. So when life begins to change, when doors close and people leave and routines no longer fit, it doesn't feel like realignment. It feels like death. But not all deaths are tragic. some are sacred, and in quantum terms, this death is vibrational. You are collapsing an old pattern of self, and the field is honoring that collapse by removing everything that resonated with it. Here's where science meets soul. In quantum mechanics, there's a phenomenon called quantum decoherence. It's the process by which a particle loses its quantum potential and takes on a fixed state due to interaction with its environment. In your life, this means that your old patterns, your limiting beliefs, your survival mechanisms, your fear-based identity, have collapsed into fixed forms, relationships, jobs, habits, loops. But when you raise your frequency, through awareness, intention, healing, those forms begin to lose coherence with you. The old you can't hold the new frequency, and so it leaves, or more accurately, it is released. But your body doesn't always understand that. Your nervous system interprets loss as danger. It floods you with chemicals to prepare for protection. Cortisol rises. Anxiety simmers. You feel unsafe, not because you're unsafe, but because you're unfamiliar with freedom. That's the paradox of transformation. What liberates you may first terrify you, because what you're experiencing isn't just circumstantial change, it's identity collapse. You're no longer able to lie to yourself in the same ways. You're no longer available for patterns that once gave you a sense of control. You're shedding roles you mastered, and for a moment, you don't yet know who you are without them. This is the emotional price of alignment, and it is holy. So if it feels like things are falling apart right now, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, what if this isn't a breakdown? What if it's a breakthrough into coherence? The pain isn't proof that you're off path. It's evidence that your nervous system is rewiring for a new timeline. And during that rewiring, there will be echoes of doubt, of grief, of confusion. That's not failure. That's frequency detox. You are not being punished. You are being purified. And the ache you feel? That's the stretch of your soul growing into space it was always meant to inhabit. So don't rush to patch the hole. Don't scramble to replace what's falling away. Let it fall. Let yourself grieve. And then, listen. Because in the silence that follows loss, something subtle begins to emerge. A deeper self, a more honest yes, a softer truth. And from that place, your next reality doesn't have to be forced. It arrives. You are not the one being rejected. You are the one being reassembled. Let the field finish its work. Let your old self exhale. Let the grief teach you that what you're losing isn't your life. It's your limitation. There comes a point on your path, not of seeking, not of forcing, but of surrender. A quiet moment when everything outside of you still feels uncertain, but inside, there is a subtle shift. Not peace yet, but presence. Not clarity yet, but coherence. It's in that space that the ritual begins. Not a performance, not a routine, but a resonance ritual. A vibrational remembrance of who you truly are beneath the noise. Let's begin. Find stillness, not perfection, just stillness. Sit or stand. Let your body relax into gravity. Let your shoulders drop. Your breath slow. Close your eyes if you feel called, and take one deep, slow inhale. Not to control your state, but to witness it. Feel what's here. Really feel it. The tightness, the openness, the flickers of uncertainty, the hints of peace. All of it is welcome here. Now, bring one hand to your heart, the other to your lower belly. These aren't just gestures, they are magnetic anchors. Your heart is the epicenter of electromagnetic field production in your body. Your gut is where intuition often speaks first. Together, they form a channel of inner guidance far more ancient and accurate than the mind. With your next breath, imagine, not with force but with ease, that you are syncing these centers, your heart and your gut, your emotion and your knowing. As they harmonize, feel how your mind no longer needs to solve the moment. It only needs to observe. Now say to yourself, out loud or internally, I release control. I trust that redirection is realignment. Let the words land, not just in your mind, but in your body. Let them ripple out like a frequency signature, a signal to the field that you're no longer resisting the shift. You're allowing it. Because surrender isn't giving up, it's giving permission. Permission for the field to do its work. Permission for your frequency to lead. Permission for what no longer resonates to exit. So what does, can enter. As you rest in this state, notice what comes up. You may feel emotion rise. Let it. You may feel stillness deepen. Let it. You may feel nothing. That's okay too. What matters is not what you feel, but that you are feeling, that you are present, that you are not abandoning yourself in the middle of a vibrational leap. Stay here as long as you like. Breathe, listen, trust, and when you're ready to complete the ritual, bring both hands to your heart. Feel it beat, not as a survival mechanism, but as a signal of becoming. Each beat says, you are alive, still here, still shifting. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not blocked. You are realigning. And here's your integration point. When something doesn't go the way you imagined, pause. Return to this. One hand on your heart. One on your gut. One breath into trust. One phrase of remembering. This is how you rewrite timelines, not through effort, but through frequency. And if you feel called to anchor this moment beyond the screen, write it into the field with us. Comment below, I trust redirection is realignment. Let that phrase be your signature in the quantum field. Let it ripple out as a declaration, not to the algorithm but to your own becoming, to the future you who already knows this is true. Because trust is not a mindset, it's a vibration. And today you vibrated as someone who remembers. You wanted alignment. You asked for the next level, you committed to your evolution, and yet, what shows up? Resistance, delay, silence, nothing happening, or worse, everything unraveling. This is where most people misinterpret the process. They believe resistance means something is wrong, that they need to fix, force, or figure it out. But in the quantum field, resistance is not rejection, it's communication. The field speaks in energy, not in language, not in logic. And one of its most powerful messengers is friction. Friction shows up when your current vibration doesn't match your desired reality, not as punishment, not as failure, but as recalibration. It's the signal that you are brushing up against the edges of your frequency bandwidth, and something needs to expand, release, or realign for the next phase to land. Let's get scientific for a moment. In quantum physics, when two fields interact but are out of phase, meaning their wave patterns are misaligned, they interfere. The result? Distortion, static, collapse of coherence. This isn't a flaw, it's physics. And it's exactly what happens when you try to carry outdated beliefs into a new frequency. You experience interference. In your life, that interference looks like struggle, confusion, pushing without traction. It's not that the universe is withholding your breakthrough, it's that you're still trying to drag the old you into the new timeline. And the field can't stabilize incoherence. So it resists, not you, but your distortion. The field is always seeking harmonic resonance. That's the path of least resistance, true resonance. And if your emotional field is carrying doubt, fear, or unworthiness, the universe doesn't punish that. It reflects it. Not to shame you, but to show you where your signal needs tuning. This is where the work begins, not in manifestation techniques, but in embodiment shifts. Because the version of you who lives in that next timeline isn't just thinking differently, they're vibrating differently. They've released what you're still holding. They've surrendered what you're still gripping. And they've accepted what you're still resisting. So when life feels stuck, pause and ask, what part of me is still operating from fear? What belief am I refusing to release? What story am I still rehearsing that doesn't match the future I say I want? You don't need to force clarity. You just need to stop resisting the real answer. And when you find it, when you allow the friction to become a portal instead of a punishment, everything begins to shift. Not always in an instant, but in waves. Synchronicities that return. emotional clarity that surfaces, new thoughts that feel more like home than effort, because resistance, when met with awareness, becomes refinement. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean every hard thing is redirection. Sometimes pain is just pain. Sometimes grief is just grief. But even there, especially there, the field is moving. Always. Nothing is wasted. Every emotion is data. Every delay is signal. Every closing door is a feedback loop from a universe that wants to co-create, not dictate. So next time resistance arises, don't ask, how do I get past this? Ask, what is this showing me about who I still think I need to be? The most powerful shifts happen not when we fight resistance, but when we feel it, when we listen to it, when we thank it. Because it's never random. It's always a message, always a mirror. The field does not speak in words. It speaks in resonance. And resistance is its way of saying, you're getting close, keep adjusting. You are not far off. You are in the middle of a vibrational upgrade, and it will feel like pressure, like shedding, like recalibration, because it is. Let the field finish its sentence before you interrupt with panic. Because what feels like silence is often the most intelligent conversation you've ever had with the universe. What would shift today if you walked through your life as if the field was always conspiring in your favor? Not hoping it is, not pretending, but knowing. At a cellular level, in the space between thoughts, in the pauses between your plans. What if that knowing was your new default? This is the final invitation of the quantum transition you've been walking through. Not to figure everything out, but to trust everything in. To move as someone who understands the field isn't reacting to your effort, but to your embodiment. You are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to embody frequencies. And when you do, outcomes adjust accordingly. Imagine what your day would look like if you no longer interpreted discomfort as failure. If the unexpected email, the delayed response, the missed opportunity weren't signs that something's wrong, but proof that something bigger is aligning. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is vibrational leadership. Because when you live from the awareness that the universe is on your side, you stop panicking at every detour. You stop measuring your progress in likes, results, or timelines. You start feeling it, owning it, moving with it. You trust redirection. You embrace recalibration. You even welcome stillness, not as delay, but as divine data integration. The person who lives like the field is on their side doesn't beg reality to change. They collapse timelines by becoming the evidence of the change already underway. They understand that coherence is magnetic, and that their job is not to convince the universe. It's to become so aligned with the version of themselves that already received, already healed, already became, that the field has no choice but to match them. That version of you? It's not far. It's here, right now, in the breath you're taking, in the truth you've been avoiding, in the softness you keep saving for later. So let's bring it home. Breathe deeply, right now. Inhale, not to control, but to commune. Exhale, not to release, but to relax into who you already are. Say it, internally or aloud. I live like the field is on my side. Say it until your body believes it, until your nervous system remembers it, until your inner child stops bracing for impact. Because when you live from that truth, you walk differently, you choose differently. You attract differently, not because you're forcing the shift, but because you are the shift. And if you're ready to stabilize this energy, if you want to turn these words into lived experience, then we created something for you. Not just another piece of content, but a vibrational guide, a resonance blueprint, a tool to help you embody the frequency you've been reaching for. Awaken Your Quantum Power, our signature ebook, was designed exactly for this moment. This isn't information, it's activation. Inside, you'll uncover the 7 vibrational shifts that move you from hoping to knowing, from forcing to flowing, from stuck to aligned. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you already are and living like the universe never stopped backing you. The link is in the pinned comment. No pressure, just presence. Follow your resonance. because the shift isn't coming. You are the shift, and the field already knows you.